Welcome to podcast number 236. This is a Build a Little Better podcast, and I'm going to ask you this question. Are your expectations high enough? Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Well, welcome everybody. This is Jason again, although you already heard that from our super awesome introductory artist, specialist, voiceover recorder lady person. But we have a good podcast for you tonight. This is going to be a shorter, Build a Little Better podcast. I used to do these early on with the shorter subjects, and then I just got too long-winded. And I looked at I have a list and I keep it on notes, and it's podcast topics. And there's just so many of them, and it gets longer and longer and longer and longer. And we all know that one piece flow is the best way to do something, meaning if I write it down and then I get to it later, it's not as good as if I just recorded it right away. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I really feel like doing it more real time and doing shorter ones is the key. So I'm looking at this and I'm scrolling on the podcast list, and I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling and I'm still scrolling and I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling. Oh my gosh. Like I'm never going to get through this stuff, and it's great content. Some of it doesn't, all fit into one like a large podcast. So I'm going to do these smaller ones. Anyway, I'm already violating my rule, already too long of a podcast. So I won't have all the scaffolding stuff in there that I typically do. And I'll just publish these as I go. I won't wait for the 5 o'clock in the morning or the morning time frame. So tonight I want to talk to you about something that's been on my mind, that's been on my heart. And it's about having high expectations. Sometimes when I go around, actually not sometimes, most of the time, when I come to a job and I'm talking to a superintendent, I'm talking to a business owner or a president of a company, and they're like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I help contractors to take their next step and blah, bore them to death, not clear. And I just drone on and on and on and on. And it's like, Jason, could you rein it in and freaking figure out what you do? And the problem is this isn't arrogant. Like there's plenty of things that I don't know a lot about. Like I'm not an expert on finances. I'm not an expert on project management software. I'm not an expert in ... You know what I mean? But I feel like I'm a pretty competent construction manager, right? And a really good field builder. So I have all these things that I can do, including VDC and survey and field engineering and financial audits and, design and pre-construction and IPD and all these things. And so I'm like, yeah, whatever you need, I'll help you. Whatever you need, I'll help you. But it's not specific. And so people look at me and they're like, I'm bored. You're not hired. You're dumb. Like they don't say that. But anyway, it's just not specific. And the problem is that I'm not getting to the point. What is the point? Well, the point is that I have really high expectations. I feel like a successful project, and I mean this, it is a project where you make your fee at least within above 90% of your original fee target, where you're on schedule, where you have remarkable quality, or at least decent quality, remarkable safety, where the workers and the team enjoyed being there, people are meeting their career goals, and the owner is delighted with the work. Like those are the metrics for a successful project. That's what I consider a successful project. Now, so when I do Tony Robbins training, and oh, by the way, I've been sick. I didn't sleep well. Voice is gone still from Tony Robbins. So apologize for that. But when I do his training, sometimes he does this really neat thing where he says, okay, you need to name yourself, your mind, this mode that you get in. And I've had a couple of different names. Sometimes when I'm going into like intelligent mode, like doing my podcast, experience, talking, preachy mode, that's Schroeder. People are like, yeah, Schroeder said this, Schroeder did that. Like that's my name. When I'm on a project, they call me the Emperor. And in Spanish, and this is really bad in Spanish, actually. I don't even know the extent to how bad this is, but they call me the Emperador Malvado, or El Malvado Emperador. So that means the evil emperor. And I took that and kind of got that nickname from Star Wars, where Emperor Palpatine says, everything is proceeding as I have foreseen, always orchestrating things as the emperor. And so that was my name. That was my nickname. When I'm on the job, making a difference, recovering projects, I'm the emperor, right? That's my name. When I'm in my better self and, and supporting people, excuse my sniffles, I've got allergies and a cold, but, anyway, you can't get COVID-19 through this podcast, so don't be afraid. Anyway, so when I'm coaching people, I'm the coach, right? So I got 3 names, and when I'm being called that or calling myself that or have that in my mind, that's who shows up. I'm always the same place. In fact, I got a compliment today that says, Jason, you're always super sincere, and I believe that I'm always sincere, but I show up differently, right? And when I'm on a project and running that project, I'm the emperor. Like everything, we have collaboration. We use Last Planner. The foreman and the workers feel connected, and it's a team environment. It's an integrated environment. But I protect everyone from the people that would take away from that environment. I am the emperor, and so I have high expectations. I feel like pre-construction should be remarkable. The schedule should be remarkable. The office space should be like going to Disneyland. The conference room should be super, uber effective. The huddle areas, the site. I don't want any trash. If I walk around, I don't want to see a single piece of trash on the project site. Now, and I can just keep going on and on, but supers would be like, well, that's just radical. That's just over the top. That's not, why would you do that? That's just, we're good enough. You know what I mean? And I hear that a lot, and, it's not good enough. If I could draw a curve for you, and I don't know if I've done this for you before, but imagine, like a little hill. If I draw a line that's a little bit flat, it starts to curve up a little, curves up incrementally, then it starts to flatten off, then the top, and then it comes down on the backside. Now at the bottom, if on this scale of contractors or supers, on the bottom is bad. A little ways up is like not very good. Halfway up, mediocre. Still on the incline is good. But then excellent is like up on top of the hill. And what I like people to imagine is when we're talking about excellence, imagine this little visual with gravity. Where is it easiest to be on that mountain? Well, it's easiest to be on the top or the bottom, because on the top, you don't have to worry about the gravity pulling you down the slope, whether you're building a house or standing there, having a party or whatever. You want to be on the top of the mountain, or you want to be on the bottom, right? You don't want to be on the side. They even have, it's funny, in most municipalities, they even have special permits if you want to build a home on the side of the house, because it's a pain in the butt, because you always have that gravity and that risk pulling you down, right? You want to build on the top or the bottom. You don't want to be on the bottom because those contractors don't get work, right? But my point is being not very good or mediocre or even good, even being a good super or a good PM or a good contractor is still so much harder than being perfect. It's still so much harder than being excellent. When I get a job going with super high expectations, I'm like, nothing touches the floor. No, let me be clear. Nothing touches the floor. No, you don't understand me. Everything's prefabricated unless you get my permission. No, you do not operate this hoist unless there's not a single piece of trash around the dumpster. No, every delivery will be scheduled and will show up on time. Like when you get that situation in that environment, I could leave for 2 weeks and they wouldn't miss me. All the systems still kept working because human beings will get addicted to excellent. And once it's excellent, once it's perfect, once you've sustained these systems, once the culture has climbed on board, it's so much easier. Do you think Paul Akers would have an easier time of just being good or perfect? He's fanatical. When you go into a shop, it's perfectly clean. Everything's done. Everything's cleaned every day. Everyone's making 2-second lean improvements. Do you think it would be easier for him to manage a good team or an excellent team? The answer is an excellent team because it's self-sustaining. And so I only want to work with people that want to be top-notch. I don't want to work with people that are giving themselves excuses. And that's not because they're bad people. It's not because I'm discriminatory. It's not because I'm mean. It's not because I'm elitist. That's not what's on my mind, right? I want to work with people that are willing to take it the whole way because that's what it's going to take to be great. That's what it's going to take to be happy. And so let's try something. Let's do something. Okay. So people that want mediocre or good or think good is good enough have a limiting belief. So there has to be leverage against that. There has to be motivation. And that's been the challenge for me when I come to teams is if there's a good team, that is the worst situation I can be in, because here's this consultant, here's this field operations expert, and he's telling us we should strive for perfection, but we're already pretty good. We're a decent team. We kind of like each other. That's the worst possible thing you can be, right? And so my job is to get leverage against that and interrupt the pattern. Okay, well, what if that isn't good enough? What if good isn't good enough? Okay, I'm open to that. All right, so let's think about this. How do you feel with the way you run your project right now? Well, if they're being honest, most of the time what I hear when people are being honest is I don't get home still to my family in enough time. It's still a pain in the butt to maintain standards with the trade partners. It's still difficult. I'm babysitting and fighting fires. I still have a number of trades that aren't performing. I feel like I'm a professional babysitter. I feel like trades disrespect me. There's not a lot of communication. And then if you go out and actually, question and interview people on the project site, they're like, "Oh man, this job's horrible. Like there's no communication. We don't half the time know where we're going to go. There's problems. What people think is good really is a nightmare for the workers, right? So if you actually get down to it, well, how does it feel to run this job like this? Well, the owner's not super happy because of this, and we don't get home on time, and we had to put this person into a position that doesn't meet their career goals, and we've had a number of quality mistakes, and safety is kind of okay, and we're at 0.75 of our feet. Good is not good enough. So if I can get a team or a group of people to actually come to terms with what not being good enough is, or meaning being good, thinking is good enough is not, and what the consequences of it are, then we can reinforce the new pattern, right? So why would we want to strive for excellence? Why would we want to strive for perfection? Because it's self-sustaining, because it makes the lives of our workers so much easier, because it brings more money to our trade partners. And I start reinforcing it over and over, and finally they get this empowering belief where they start to see excellence like I see it. They start to believe excellence like I believe it. They start to become fanatical. Anybody listening to this podcast, anyone listening, you have to be fanatical. Let me do this. You have to be, insert cuss word, fanatical about everything if you want to run a project that's remarkable. And so my challenge to you is please elevate your game. And please, 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 please have high expectations, because high expectations equals respect. And I really hope that you have enjoyed this little Build a Little Better podcast. And until we meet again, on we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.